Hi everybody, I'm Jim Strink, the Assistant Principal at Jasper County High School, and today I'm going to be discussing how we have made improvements in our literacy throughout the building. Jasper County High School has seen tremendous improvements in our literacy throughout the building. Basically, we've seen our end-of-course test pass rates increase in the 4 years that I've been here. Also, our graduation rate has increased to 94.58% this past year. We're looking forward to hopefully matching or even passing that this year as we go forward. Some of the ways that we have managed to keep up with our literacy and how it's being taught in the building is we have what we call a Better Seeking Team, or BST, and we looked at what we could do to improve our students' ability to read in the building. And so we basically have a literacy initiative in our action plan where teachers are focusing on reading throughout all content and grade levels to improve our students' scores and make them ready to go to college or into a career or technical school, whatever their aspirations may be when they graduate Jasper County High School. Obviously, when we look at literacy, it's a little bit harder in some subject areas, but math took an initiative and they're working on literacy standards where they look at the word problems. They came up with their own acronym for the students to know to slow down and read the word problem essentially and diagram it and go through it. In our English department, we have guest speakers coming in. There are authors from across wherever Ms. McFarland and Mr. Bradley and Ms. Sawinski have found some of them that they know some, and so we have guest speakers come in. We do poetry nights. We've had guest authors come in and explain their process for creative writing to help our students, see that there is a reason to do well with literacy itself. And then in CTA departments, we have encouraged our teachers to focus on the technical writing skills so that the kids understand what is expected of them when they get into the job market itself, and so that they will be better prepared for whatever the environment is going to be when they graduate from Jasper County High School. Those are a few of the things that we've done in the past few years to help improve our scores, and we hope to continue to see great success here at Jasper County High School. Thank you.
I teach struggling readers and I teach advanced readers and everything in between. And so something that's dear to my heart is to meet students where they are and woo them, allure them, draw them forth towards towards improvement. And ultimately, reading is the foundation of thought, because in order to think, one needs language. So the structures of reading are the structures of thinking, critical thought. And if you lack words, you lack the ability to frame thought in nuanced ways. So I believe it's extremely important, and I'm passionate about it. A lot of our kids come to us with what is called that million-word gap. So by a certain age, kids who have print material at home, get read to, get things discussed with them, they have a million more words than kids who don't. So I believe in discussion. One of the key strategies that for which I am an advocate is Socratic seminar in the classroom, in any classroom, but we do it over literary pieces. I read this out loud first. I do the first reading because I think they need reading modeled. So that's another strategy, is I read it first. And I want the burden not on them to make sense, not on them to decode or figure out what a word, how it's pronounced or said. I want them actually thinking about what I'm saying and reading. I want them to think about the content and the flow of it and the feel and tone and mood of it. Does that make sense? So I read the first time and then they read the second time and do the annotation. I have to win them over, but I do the same thing with them. I start where they are and I read aloud, then we discuss, then they have to read and do some closer reading and look for answers themselves. But they need to hear it modeled. So modeling, discussion, word attack skills. I believe in vocabulary instruction, direct, and I usually do it around Latin and Greek roots. So we have a list every week, my kids do, of Latin and Greek roots. For my English classes do. My reading classes, we just break them down as we go, and I pull the roots and make connections to other words. I believe in that. Another strategy is to take whatever you have, whatever they're interested in, and go there with them.
The stuff we do in my classroom, I was a middle school teacher before being a high school teacher, and what I learned is that most kids come in not being ready for high school. So I teach 9th grade English, which is one of the classes that more people struggle with, I think, than most of their other classes. What I try to do is to teach them how to be 9th graders, teach them how to be high schoolers. I teach study habits, and we use a lot of repetition, a painful amount of repetition sometimes, to try to get the idea home of what we're trying to do. And a lot of what we do, the nuts and bolts of what we do, is we learn how to write, starting at the very basic level of paragraph writing. And we attack their weaknesses repeatedly with a lot of one-to-one work.
We want to discuss how important literacy is and how important reading is to you. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on it and how you're working to help each other too become better readers. And why is that important?
I think reading is important because, like, you use it in an everyday life thing. It's going to carry with you throughout life.
Because if you, like, start on the lower level and then become higher and higher, you'll do more, like, get better at reading.
I noticed that y'all are reading a lot more than you used to together. How is that helping you?
Because, like, some words that I probably don't know, she know it, and some that she don't know, and I probably know it.
Yeah.
And we both, like, and if we both don't know it, we either sign it out together, and we still don't know it, we either come ask a teacher.
Yeah.
Do y'all ever discuss the articles as you read them?
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll go back and reread it and see where it was at or whatever.
You go back and reread it?
Yeah, or say if it's a question, we'll go back, probably reread the paragraph that we think the question was in and see that it makes sense.
And make sense out of what you read in context of that question.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you are better able to do that now. And do you feel like that's making your brain grow?
Oh, yes.
All those pathways in your brain?
Becoming better at reading, yeah.
Becoming better at reading, definitely. So what else would you like to add about how this is changing your life, your future? What is reading and literacy and in this class? What are those things doing for you that put you on a path, a better
I just want the students to know that this class is really fun, and, like, it helps you become a better reader if you, like, at a lower level.
You just got to put your mind to it
Yeah.
to want to
Put
do
your
it.
mind to it.
When I first came in this classroom, and then I was on a lower level, and then I started moving up and became on a higher level. And, like, and it really, I'm proud of myself because, like, I didn't know if I can do it.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
last year, it was just, I was so down and disappointed because I knew I can do it, and I didn't want to.
You just
but I
wasn't
pushed
putting your
myself. I
mind- yeah.
pushed myself.
What we're doing is asking a few questions about how important literacy is to you and your future, how important it is. Why is reading important? Why is it important that you push through and develop your skills and your understanding about reading? Why is that?
Because it'll help you in the long run. Like, if you got a job and you have to, like, sign stuff, it'll help you read and understand what you signed and what words mean and everything.
You have to have words to have power, right?
Mhm.
So we're getting words more and more. The more you read, the more words you have, right? Why is that important in your life pursuit of law enforcement?
It helps me become more fluent when I read.
Okay.
It helps me understand more what I read. When we started, I would mumble and stuff when I read. But now I'm so, like, fluent and I don't stutter and nothing. From where I started, I would have grown a lot farther than I would have if I haven't learned the way you've been teaching me. I want to hopefully get in, like, higher and more educated reading classes. My goal is, like, help me read better by myself. Because when I'm with near people, I can read good, but when I'm by myself, I struggle. Because in my head, I just don't want to do it. But when I'm with people, I want to.
What are some other strategies we use that you use that make you a better reader?
When you help me break down the words.
Breaking down words into pieces, right? Meaningful pieces.
Yes, ma'am.
Reading and writing is important for many different reasons because they play a big part in a bunch of future jobs. And Also, you need to do it for everyday things like reading a book or newspaper or instructions just to build something you buy. To begin with, I wasn't the best reader. So when I got this class, I knew I needed it because I needed to get better. So I tried every day to do my best, and I got better over time.
Well, I think that reading is like these basic necessities to be successful, to go somewhere in this world today. It's so necessary. Like just to if you need financial aid for college, you got to be able to write. You got to be able to fill out applications and make good, stellar application essays so that you're chosen. You know, all my success is because I can read. My grades is what I'm referring to when I say a success. Just because I can read, like I can break down math problems because I have the vocab. You know, those types of things. I think that a lot of times people who are students, just people in general who struggle with writing, with speech, with all that kind of stuff, is because they don't read a lot. And if you read a lot, you learn the words. You're subconsciously memorizing those things. And the more and more you see it, the more you'll be able to pick out how to properly write things, how to write proper essays. All that type of stuff comes simply from just seeing other people do it, and reading that, I think, can be the best way to enrich your reading skills and your literacy skills is to read. If I'm acting or doing something, I don't want to mess up just because I can't pronounce a word. I don't want to be stuttering a lot because I'm not used to reading. That's one thing, you know, when you're doing any type of cold read on anything, monologue to anything, if you don't know how to read, if you don't have that confidence, then it's not easy. It's hard, you know. I think a good vocabulary should, like, for success in life, you know, a lot of, like, you got to have a career. You got to be able to provide, make money. And I think having a good vocabulary is one of the best ways to show someone that you're serious, that you can be taken seriously, that you can take on roles and things like that. I've taken some dual enrollment classes through Middle Georgia State, and I had some pretty challenging essays and prompts that were given to me there, and if I simply don't have a vocabulary and don't write and can't write, then I can't get a decent grade. And if I don't have a good grade, then I can't get that diploma. And if I don't get that diploma, then I'm less likely to get hired in a career. So just being able to read and write and have that vocabulary elevates the professional side of things, how you look professionally, I think. Communication is directly involved with being able to read and write, communicating with others, being a leader. You have the communication skills. I mean, that's a necessity when it comes to those sort of things. And without reading and writing skills, I think that you can be something you might struggle with if you try to take on that type of position. The only thing that I want to say is just to all students that hate reading and hate having to learn it, look at the kids who have made it this far, all the students who are in this high school, and just know that it's so much easier to be successful whenever you can read and whenever you take advantage of your opportunities starting really, really young. When you're reading those little tiny books, you know, that's whenever it really starts, and that's when the foundation starts. And if you don't grasp that and take advantage of it, then it can really affect your future.
Yeah.
So I encourage all our students in Jasper County Charter System and all over the world, take advantage of your reading opportunities.
What has happened in classes that helps you understand what you're reading, making good sense of it, rich sense of it?
The teachers stop for a minute and then they explain what the reading's about, and then they go back to the reading after explaining it, and they do that every once in a while.
Talk about yourself and how you've changed as a reader.
I became a better reader. I read bigger books, and I read them quicker than I used to be able to.
Do you like it better?
Yes.
Why?
Because it's easier to read those bigger books that I like.
And
Yes.
is that a goal you have, is to continue to become a better reader?
Yes, ma'am.
How are you going to do that?
Read more and understand what I'm reading as I'm reading it. Because I know I'm a better reader from whenever I started out till now.
Yes, you are. And you're proud of that. But besides that, what will it allow you to do in the future, maybe?
Be able to teach other kids how to read and go to college, finish college.
Reading has been important to me because I know I'll need it later in life.
Uh-huh.
Like, I want to become like a nurse, so like I know I'll need reading to like know like what to give the patients and stuff.
Uh-huh. How do you think that what we do in class is useful for you? How is it helping you?
Like learning new words that I never seen before, and like you taking the time to like help us and like help us make us like write down the words when we don't like get it the first time.
Uh-huh.
And we like keep reviewing the words or like keep reading the articles and stuff. I like when we do whole group because like I think it really helps all of us instead of in small groups, because like if we're in whole groups, you'll like stop just in case one of us is like behind or we don't get it. I would say literacy is important because you're gonna need it. You're gonna finally realize that you're gonna need it later in life, and you're gonna wanna go back and like learn the stuff, but you're probably not gonna be able to. Just stay focused, and like don't let no one get you off task. Just stay focused.
Meaning reading, writing, communicating, speaking, all of that. How important is all of that to you?
It's important to me because I feel as though it helps me with all my classes, science, English, any classes. It helps me with that. Going back, reading what I just read over again, reading a sentence over, or just going back and looking at questions that I don't know and finding them out, reading again. I wasn't very confident like in 9th grade or 10th grade because I still stuttered over words, but now I don't really stutter over words as I used to do.
What would you tell other students about learning to read well, to read deeply, and to write and communicate?
I would tell them to take your time. Don't be scared to read out loud in class because they will help you. So just take your time, sound out a word. If it's big and you don't know it, just sign it out. Just take your time. Just be patient with yourself too.
Well, it's incredibly important to me, just being able to express and convey my thoughts, and even down to emotions when you get into songwriting and poetry. Being able to express those little itty bitty bits of feelings, you know, that you can't quite put into words, with like saying you're happy or sad, and it's not something you can see on somebody's face, you know.
Right.
It comes down to being long bits of literature that explain just one little thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always liked to like read and stuff when I was a kid, but like coming up to like high school, I mean, it's like a whole different thing, you know. And like getting in classes like where like the teacher actually like cares about it, and they're not just like going through standards. They're like trying to make you understand it. I mean.
And in life, why is it important? King, why is it important in life that you have that power?
Well, there are problems in life and things happen, and when worst comes to worst, and you have to explain not even just the details of something, but how important it is, and you have to make somebody else feel that importance to you, or even down to the details, just being able to go through and make sure you hit every bit of something and properly explain it in the best way you can, so that everyone who reads it is able to understand it. That's incredibly important.
Yes, it is. I agree. Anything you would like to say to people, to students who come after you, who sit in class and go, I don't know why we're doing this, I hate this. Oh, why I don't want to do this work. What would you say?
I just say, read. Find something that you enjoy reading. It's out there.
Yeah.
And read other people's work, and then write down what you're thinking.
Yeah.
And write what you care about.
That's right. Would you tell them to press through it? Jenna?
I mean, even though I might not feel like it's important or like you're learning anything at the time, I can remember times in class like, oh, I just don't feel like doing this right now. I mean, it's worth it. Whenever you get to higher level courses and stuff, it's crazy how much it'll help you.
What happens if we can't communicate well and meaningfully?
If you can't really communicate well, since it's the base of everything, it kind of messes up everything else further down the line, like your friendships, your relationships, everything that you need to be good.
Thrive as a society.
It's kind of like a game of telephone, you know? If everybody just keeps hearing something, they don't speak on their own, have good literacy, it's just all going to get messed up.
If there's not clear communication, then it's only resulting in problems.
So how do we fix the lack of communication? What do we do that addresses that inability to communicate among people in groups?
I think listening. If you are really listening, and listening is just as important as communication, because if you listen to communication, then that's how you can understand.
And understanding is the point.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, listening is a key aspect of communication. Because
Exactly.
a lot of people, they think communication is just talking, but in reality, it's talking just as much as you are listening. Because if you're not listening, then there's no communication.
So listening, when do we do that?
In seminar.
In seminar, yeah. And what is it about seminar that really helps your learning?
You hear other people's views and not just your own.
Okay.
And with hearing other people's views, it allows you to make connections or think about it in a way that you've never thought about it before, and therefore come up with something completely different.
It helps you grow your own view, deeper, and just see more sides. And something that we've done this year that we've kind of done before, but not really until this year, is we pull apart the text. We'll take it sentence by sentence, and really just take our time and critically analyze. And that has really helped me, because I feel like if you look at each small piece, and then it makes you see the bigger picture better and more refined.
Close reading.
Yeah, close reading.
What helps me is we break words into sections, and we say, this is what this means, and this is what this means. And using that, it can really help finding what these other words mean, because we can break it apart and find the meaning ourselves.
For me, I've become more intentional with my word choice. We read about, we read Letter from a Birmingham Jail and all this stuff, and you can just see how every word is intentional, like you were saying earlier. And obviously I'm not that good or anything, but that has opened my eyes to see how detailed writing actually is, because I used to just slap stuff on a page.
Yeah.
But now I really think about what goes on there and how it connects with other words. And
I noticed this year, I was no, it's taking me longer to write things. And then now I notice that I'm no, it's just I'm taking more time subconsciously to just make my writing better.
Are you a more empowered speaker?
I believe
and
so.
Writer and thinker? Is your mind open more to multiple perspectives? Would you say that's been one of the outcomes of what we do?
Yeah, I think that's what we get from seminar, is just allowing other people to voice their interpretations and tie it into yours, and then make an even better conclusion.
To give people a chance to talk and to actually listen,
Yeah.
So a lot of times, even if it's it's different than your opinion, a lot of times we used to just not even take the time to hear it. But I feel like with seminar, I've actually learned that listening to someone else can be beneficial to me.
I think if we practice this as adults, and if adults now practice this, I think we could live in a lot better world where it's just not our opinion all the time. It's oh wait, hold on, they have an idea, let's listen. And so it's just just listen.
So what's the most important thing you could tell other students that are coming without knowing how to read well?
Just keep trying to read.
Just keep trying. Is it worth it to you?
Yeah.
Are you willing to keep working hard?
Yes.
Because why?
Because it'll give me a life, future.